I've been waiting 4 months for part 2. What have you been doing for these last 4 months?
I've been busy with Carl.
I don't care, just give us part 2.
Fine, looks like it's that time again. Hello everybody, it is me, Prasad plays Edmer with a text-to-speak voice because I can't record the intro without taking so many retakes, but this is just for the intro. But I do apologize for being really late on the due date for part 2. I had some issues with timing and college that led me to not having much time nor even motivation to even work on the Iceberg. But I do want to mention that the Iceberg did get updated, such as the cast itself being fully cut. I did this as Chino, Bruno and Chatar have lives and have things to do as adults should, so I told them I'll cover them as they should focus on that. And the other two cast members were just kicked because I had many issues working with them, which is why from now till the end I'll be voicing the whole Iceberg by myself. But besides that, the Iceberg itself got updated as it used to be way longer, more filler. I changed it to have less filler and more short but keeping the more interesting things. I also decided that parts 2 and 3 will be together in its own video, such as with 4 and 5, as they're both short and to get things done better. But layer 6 will be its own thing. Anyway, thanks for understanding, and let's get started with part 2 of the APB Iceberg.
Thomas Brian Reed is well known for being the principal of Animo background for an entire decade now, and to many students such as myself, he's been a great principal, trying his best to support us through anything, even besides the underpowered situation. It came as a surprise to many students such as myself that we found out that he's married to a husband and loving kids, which is, I'm not trying to throw any shame or hate towards him. I respect his decision. I support that he's gay with a husband. I support it, and I hope other students also do as well. As you know, he's been overall a great principal despite that, but that's no issue. Such as with any high school in America, APB is no exception to having any students do any property damage, as well as some students have also broken bathroom locks, homes and walls, missing chair parts. We also have broken locker room legs, faucets, bottle faucets as well. There's like a list I can keep going, but I can also mention car windows being broken as well. But also Chromebooks, as they're always being damaged in many ways possible that are still being used despite it being broken. During the early start of 2025, ongoing protests involving the Latino community has been seen protesting all over Los Angeles due to those in the community being mistreated and deported by the well-known Immigration Custom Enforcement, better known as ICE for short. Many students who were a part of this community, seeing their own community being mistreated, wanted to help spread the ongoing situation throughout many forms of interest, such as in person or mainly on social media, such as Instagram itself, which led to the idea and plan to walk out during school hours, mainly in high schools and middle schools as well in Los Angeles. As APB was also involved in this, as when the day arrived, many who were a part or heard of it decided to walk out peacefully without any staff or any sort of violence being put into play, as there was a small percentage of students, mainly around 100 or 50, that walked out and basically just went on their goal to also go to other high schools and protest about what was going on. But there was also a small percentage of students being able to just participate but just leave immediately, just to go home early. But beforehand, the entire thing, the principal himself emailed students saying that they shouldn't really do this, but many did. The staff didn't stop, but in the end, around 50 to 100 people did walk out, and you can say the protest was successful. But even until now, there have been many protests going around for the Latino community. Moses Cooley was a former staff member at APB, mainly being a counselor to many students and taking care of a lot of students throughout his assigned grade. And it was a great surprise that he left during late 2024 or early 2025. That there's like a lot of reasons that we don't know as students, but no one has ever found out why he left. But some speculation is that he left just to try and find a better job opportunity, or maybe the unfair treatment that's been going around APB, but to this day, it's still a mystery why he left, as he clearly enjoyed working at APB. In 10th grade, many students in both biology class, had to participate in a social media campaign, or just like this thing where they have to make an account to spread awareness about a certain topic, such as climate change, littering, and just much more around those topics. As it's uncertain if this thing is still going on today, but I'm pretty sure it still is. But it's just funny that students are just kind of forced to make these accounts to like kind of promote it, or they can do like quizzes and stuff, which is pretty fun. Of course, with any high school comes a troller account or just a random Instagram account that's associated with the school, but not really run by the school, but just students themselves, as they like to mess around, make wacky accounts around certain things. As on screen, it'll show a few that I can find. Some are not really appropriate to say the least, but some are funny. No one in this Iceberg or such as myself has been involved with any of these accounts. I don't even know who the owners are, so if you find more of these accounts, you can look at them yourself. It's not really hard to find it, but for the sake of time, this is all I can show about all the APB accounts. Also, during 2025, a weird trend was going on as many students began to sell boxes of chocolate, but not just any chocolate, but the chocolate is named the world's finest chocolate, made by founder Animo. As these chocolates came in many flavors such as dark chocolate, milk chocolate, caramel, crisp, and wafer flavor chocolates. And these were just mainly given to students so they can earn enough money to fundraise whatever sports or equipment they needed, which they sold around $1 or $2. Maybe if you were lucky, it may have been sold for $1. But yeah, these chocolate sellers would go out of their way to bother people, being like, "Hey, you want to buy some chocolates? You know they're really good. Maybe pay me now, and then later give me the other half." Which was really good, as I filled for a debate myself about a few chocolates for some friends as well, which is a good idea to help students raise funds for whatever sports equipment they needed. Student council is a group of students who are selected by a teacher per an application by chance, and with this they're basically put on the task to create like posters promoting Spirit Week, upcoming events, holiday themed weeks, fundraisers, and just many more, such as selling food as well. As they're also in charge of making APB weekly announcements, as once a week they'll do an announcement just basically just telling about the events and many stuff, fundraisers and all that. Which there have been two sides of this, well, in my opinion, that some people find it unfunny, some find it funny, but overall I would say it's a great thing having students do this instead of just staff. The staff will just probably make it even boring than how it is. On the top building of APB, the building of it, the staff and principal themselves know that there's a pool on top of the entire building, and it's a really secret and hidden thing, as many students have tried through Google Earth and many other methods to try and see the pool, but it's been covered really well, which lets nobody be able to see it but only the staff and principal himself, as it's unknown if they'll let any student try and find it, or any government official will be able to finally see what the pool looks like. If you ever thought to yourself, what is APB's ranking against the hundreds of high schools across Los Angeles itself? Well, I've done some research on my own, and I've discovered that many resources have claimed that it's been between the 800s or maybe even 1000s, but with the overall research I found, APB has been in the rank 400s. Well, it also depends on the status and many other factors, lurking variables. But yeah, APB has been ranked in between the 400s when it comes to the best education in school within Los Angeles.
How are there so many L's?
You're finding L's too?
Dennis, it's not a competition.
I'm sure it doesn't feel like one when you're rolling around with stacks of L's. You've lost touch with the common man, Ray. It's like you forgot where you came from.
Take some L's, Dennis.
Aww. Thanks, Ray.
On November 26th of 2024, a student has spotted that on Spectrum News Live TV 3 that they've seen an interview between Brian Reed and another teacher being interviewed about the idea of gender pouches being a thing in their school, which I'll show a clip of it right here.
Sound of a click has replaced the sound of cell phone notification pings throughout the day at Animo Pat Brown Charter High School. Every morning, all 600 students line up and place their phones in these pouches. School staff lock them away for the day. Principal Brian Thomas Reed says locking phones unlocks creativity and connection.
Cell phone addiction was real, but it really just became one of those things that actually everybody already agrees with this. Like, this was one of the easiest decisions to make.
Students keep their phones in the pouches with them during the day but can't access them. Magnets that unlock the phones are placed by the door as they leave school. In case of emergency, parents are asked to call the front desk, and Principal Reed says the change has been positive. And despite Principal Reed back at Pat Brown has a more dire warning.
We're going to look back at students with cell phones in schools as our smoking on airplanes moment. It's just insane.
A habit he and many across the country are hoping to kick out of schools for good.
During lunchtime, a student was trying to grab a ball over the netted gate that we have at APB at the lunch area. And reporting so that when he was trying to do it, he fell from the gate and broke his leg, which led to a cold blue being immediately put as staff quickly told students to go back inside. As many students were seen rushing into the back into the building, and many have been able to see it, but some have not. And it hasn't been reported who was the student who broke their leg. Did you know in the lunch area of ATB, there's just like this huge 5G tower in the middle of the lunch area that mainly takes up a lot of space? And when someone asked the principal if it was theirs, he stated that it wasn't theirs, but a different company who owned it. So that just means that any student who kicks a soccer ball and it gets stuck between the area, they're basically just trespassing each time, which is funny, but it's unknown who owns this 5G tower and why they decided to just not move it somewhere else. During 2024, it was strangely a surprise to see that many students have realized that the bathroom mirrors were, out of all the restrooms, were all gone. And even the locker rooms as well were gone without any notice or warning. And apparently it was done to basically stop students from just checking themselves in the mirror, just be like, oh, my hair is good. And that was the only reason it was taken off, which was really weird as why would they take it off? Isn't that just a waste of money? But overall, that's their statement that students were using it too much and basically skipping on class, which is just really stupid. Rivas was a substitute for a Spanish teacher that's left during the time, and they decided to hire him for the remaining of the time that was left in the semester, which was the entire school year. As many students commented that he had an OnlyFans apparently, but he was also just chill and just a bit of a jerk. But overall, students really liked him, and his mark is still there. As it also been spotted that he had to attend the graduation of the year that he was taking care of, which was pretty funny. Between the area of Roosevelt Park and APB building, there has been a report of a red car basically shooting people when he asked them the time and will run away. And sadly, there was one victim that did get shot and sadly passed away. Of course, the family deserves all the prayers, even after it's happened. They deserve all the love and care, as no one deserves to be taken away just like that. But the suspect has been found, but it's uncertain how much jail time he got. But overall, he's been sent to jail, and I really hope his family gets better with this situation. I want to say that this was fairly recent, and they're not from APB, but this happened where the metro track was right next to the APB building. But sadly, someone in the community, not the APB community, but just like overall in the area, sadly took their lives on the metro tracks. And a student there filmed this, but I will not show anything of that. But I just want to point out, if you're going through a tough time like this, just know there are many people wanting to talk to you, even at your lowest point. Even if you're scared to just talk to someone, it's best to talk to anyone that you need if you're going through hard times like this. So if you do need someone to talk to, I recommend doing so. Martucci was well known for being the greatest chemistry teacher at APB, as many students enjoyed having her as a teacher, such as myself. As despite her class being difficult and mainly mandatory to pass, she always found a way to make it feel interesting for students and basically never left any students confused, as sadly, she took a gamble since she was basically in a biking sport group. She decided to leave and try and take care of her own, but it sadly failed, and when she tried to return back, she was immediately rejected, as at the time they already hired a new chemistry teacher, or it was just speculation that they just didn't want her to come back or having them to pay her more due to her being there for a long time, which is sad, but if you wonder how she is now, she's doing great. You know, she's cooking and all of that. I'll show little clips here and there. And that is it for layer 2 and 3 of the Amino Pat Brown Iceberg. I really appreciate you guys just watching to the end and understanding that as a college student, I don't have much motivation after I'm done with all my academic stuff. So I really appreciate you still coming back. And I do promise this time that in June, the same time like in May, that parts 4 and 5 will also be its own video, will be posted. As this video didn't take so long to make, honestly, because I focused more on less images rather than more. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you want, like if you want, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you later. Peace out.
No one's above the law, so I'll punch you in the jaw. That will only apply to me.